Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're embarking on an in-depth look at a recent event that left fans buzzing and maybe a little bit divided too. We're talking about UB40's Relentless Tour stop down in Hollywood, Florida. Specifically, the August 22nd, 2025 concert at the Hard Rock Live. So our mission today is really to go far beyond, your typical concert review. We've looked through articles, fan comments, critical analysis to really unpack the music, the atmosphere, and some surprising logistical hurdles that popped up, and what it all truly means for a band celebrating, almost 50 years of reggae pop glory. Think of this as your shortcut to understanding the nuances of a legacy act navigating today's music landscape.
Exactly. And this isn't just about one single concert, is it? What's really fascinating here is how this particular experience gives us a pretty insightful lens to view the wider dynamics of legacy bands in the music industry right now. We're looking at fan expectations, how live music experiences are changing, and just the whole landscape of touring in 2025. It's not just about the notes they played, but the entire kind of symphony of experience around it. It really reveals that tightrope walk a lot of established artists face.
Absolutely, yeah. It's all those moving parts that make it so interesting. So let's set the scene, shall we? The date was Friday, August 22nd, 2025. Venue, the pretty impressive Hard Rock Live in Hollywood, Florida. Now, this wasn't just any old show. This was a key stop on UB40's Relentless Tour, a tour specifically designed to celebrate almost 5 decades of their unique, instantly recognizable reggae pop sound.
Wow, 5 decades.
Yeah, imagine the anticipation in the air for a band with that kind of history. For a lot of people, it's a chance to revisit their youth, right? And for others, maybe see a living legend for the first time.
Indeed. And to kick things off, the night actually began right on time, 8:00 p.m., with the new wave legends, the Fixx. Our sources describe their performance as a really solid warm-up. They played their big hits like One Thing Leads to Another.
Right. Yeah, classic.
Right. They apparently did a great job setting a fantastic vibe for the, 7,000-strong crowd. Got everyone warmed up and ready. It felt like a smart choice for an opener, getting that energy building, like a musical appetizer before the main course. It also kind of hints at the demographic, maybe, blending classic reggae with that 80s new wave feel.
Good point. And then the moment everyone was really waiting for.
Yeah.
UB40 themselves, they made their entrance at 9:00 p.m., stage fronted by Matt Doyle, who's handling lead vocals now.
Ah.
Alongside the absolute legends, Campbell on guitar and Jimmy Brown holding down the rhythm on drums. They were all set for a 1 hour, 15-minute set that, as we'll find out, was packed with a lot of fan favorites, but also sparked some interesting discussion. Yeah. Okay, so here's where the perspectives really start to kind of branch out. The initial buzz from loads of attendees and reviewers was overwhelmingly positive. They were calling it a feel-good fiesta with electric energy. Sources were praising Matt Doyle's vocals, describing them as smooth as silk. Many felt he really channeled the spirit of Campbell. And you had Robin's signature guitar riffs, those melodic lines, and Jimmy's rock-solid beats just driving the whole crowd, keeping that iconic reggae rhythm alive. But, knowing how critical audiences can be, especially with legacy acts, right, how much of that initial glow do you think is like a genuine reaction to the performance itself? And how much is maybe just the sheer anticipation and nostalgia finally being met?
That's a really critical question to unpack, yeah. Our sources definitely point out that the production value at Hard Rock Live played a huge role in creating that positive initial vibe. They talk about an intimate atmosphere, even with that big capacity, and killer lights and sound that really boosted UB40's style, that laid-back but punchy feel.
Right.
Visually, they had projections, Jamaican vibes, images from the band's history on screen. It added layers to the experience, kind of created the sensory immersion. But you're absolutely right. For a band like UB40, a big chunk of the audience is there purely to relive memories. The challenge is, does the production just let that nostalgia happen, or does it actively create a new, compelling experience? Because that initial positive feeling, as we'll see, it didn't quite hold universally through the whole night.
Okay, so it sounds like, for the most part, it was a fantastic production. Visually, sonically, mostly.
Yeah.
But, it wasn't entirely flawless. Which brings us to an interesting point about live sound. There was apparently a notable hiccup during the song Higher Ground. The reports say the sound mix got muddy for a hot second. Yeah, and our sources mentioned that some people, especially towards the back, actually grumbled about it.
Yeah.
Which, led to questions. Was it just a temporary tech glitch? Was it something about the reggae tempo itself? Or maybe just the volume impacting clarity?
This kind of momentary technical issue is always a fascinating thing in terms of audience perception. The Hard Rock Live, it's generally known for having really spot-on acoustics, right? So a noticeable drop in sound quality, even for just one song, can be quite jarring for people. And what's intriguing is how quickly this seemed to feed into the online chat afterwards. We saw posts pop up on X, calling the show too slow or suggesting the crowd kind of lost interest mid-set and specifically referencing these sound issues.
Okay, so connecting the dots.
Exactly. But then the main reviewer largely described the performance overall as having a chill groove. So you've got this minor technical blip, maybe some differing opinions on pacing, that for some people significantly changed how they remembered the whole night. While for others, it was barely even a blip. It just really highlights how subjective and maybe how fragile the live music experience can be, where one little thing can tip the scales of enjoyment.
Yeah, that makes sense. And considering those different perceptions we just talked about, the chill groove versus too slow, it naturally leads us right to the heart of any concert. Set list. And here, the sources reveal what sounds like a true reggae dream for many fans. Absolutely packed with classics. We're talking Here I Am, Come and Take Me, Maybe Tomorrow, Homely Girl, 1 in 10.
All the big ones.
Totally. And they didn't just stick to their own stuff either. They threw in some really well-loved covers like Many Rivers to Cross and Cherry O Baby. And then, of course, the encore, Red Wine. That apparently hit like a total nostalgia bomb, as one source put it, making sure everyone left on a high, singing along. I mean, it's almost a guaranteed crowd pleaser for a band with such a deep catalog of massive hits, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That red wine moment, it's almost like a sacred ritual for UB40 fans, right? It has to be there. But this carefully chosen selection, it does make you wonder, was it a greatest hits cash grab or a love letter to fans?
Good question.
Our sources definitely present a clear debate on this. Some people felt the set list was, well, too safe, leaning really heavily on those established hits. And apparently, there was little from their new UB45 album. Others went even further, suggesting the band is leaning too hard on nostalgia, maybe showing a little innovation since the lineup shifts.
Okay.
What's really insightful here, I think, is that this isn't just about the band's creative choices. It's that delicate dance between keeping their authentic sound, maybe evolving artistically, and trying to meet the often clashing expectations of a fan base that spans generations. Our sources suggest that, yeah, leaning into the hits guarantees a certain level of satisfaction, but the real challenge for these long-standing acts is finding fresh ways to present their legacy, maybe through new arrangements or telling a deeper story about their journey. Rather than just playing the songs exactly as they always have, it really highlights that tension between commerce and art.
It really is a fascinating tightrope walk, and one that you see across the music industry, especially with bands that have been around for decades. So what does all this mean for a band with, 70 million records sold and this incredible 47-year bond between its core members? Are they still truly pushing boundaries, or are they maybe just riding the wave of their huge success in history? It's such a crucial question, and one that loads of long-standing artists have to grapple with as their careers stretch on and on. You, the listener, probably have your own feelings on where that balance should lie. For some people, that familiar comfort of the classics is exactly what they want. For others, maybe a band that isn't evolving feels like a band standing still.
And that question really touches on the essence of what a legacy artist's purpose is today. Our sources reveal that while the crowd definitely loved the familiar stuff, those whispers of too safe or little innovation are significant. They're there. It's a challenge every band faces once they outlast their initial big boom. Do you cater mostly to the core fans who want the hits exactly like they remember them? Or do you risk putting out new material, maybe changing things up, and potentially alienating some people? The fact that the UB45 album wasn't heavily featured, well, that speaks volumes, doesn't it?
It does.
And this isn't just about UB40, it's like a microcosm of the whole classic rock and reggae touring scene, where fan loyalty often bumps up against artistic growth. It's all about staying relevant without losing your authenticity, and that line seems increasingly hard to walk.
Okay, so moving beyond the music itself, the overall concert experience. That involved a lot more than just the sound and the set list, right? Let's talk about the practical side of things, attending a show like this, because that can often make or break the night for people. Ticket prices, they range from about $55 to $87. And, naturally, this sparked a pretty heated debate among attendees online and in reviews. Some called it a steal for a 47-year legacy. Felt it was totally worth it for such an iconic band.
Understandable.
But others, they were crying rip-off, especially for a show that ultimately clocked in under 1.5 hours. Now, this brings up a really crucial point for legacy acts. How do you balance the massive allure of your brand name with the changing expectations of concertgoers? We've kind of seen this trend lately, haven't we? Where shorter sets, maybe from touring acts managing their energy levels are seen as less value for money, especially when you compare them to artists who play closer to 2 hours or even more. Does the prestige of having a nearly 50-year legacy automatically justify a shorter show in the eyes of all fans?
That's such a fundamental question about the value proposition in live music today. It really is. And that's not where the practical issues ended either. What's particularly illuminating here is how the venue operations themselves played a role in the experience. So, while parking was apparently free, which is nice,
Yeah, that's a bonus.
getting into the Hard Rock Live was reportedly a hassle. Our sources mention no backpack rules and e-ticket scans, causing a pretty big bottleneck, creating frustration before the music even started.
Oh dear. Not ideal.
No. And then there was what one source described as a bold move, a smoking ban for a reggae crowd.
Ooh, yeah, that is bold.
Right. That's a management decision that definitely sparked a reaction. You can almost picture the collective sigh from the reggae faithful. Maybe a few trying to discreetly commune with nature out in the parking lot beforehand. Our sources explicitly mention some got escorted out, no refunds.
It just perfectly illustrates how venue rules, no matter how standard they might seem in general, can clash pretty dramatically with a specific subculture's expectations. It can turn a planned feel-good fiesta into a potential flashpoint for frustration. This isn't just about rules, it's about understanding and maybe catering a little to specific audience demographics, which can really impact enjoyment long before the first note is even played.
Yeah, absolutely. So ultimately, the sources were really torn on the overall value proposition. And these logistical things clearly fed into that division. If you were like a UB40 diehard, someone who's followed them for years and just wanted to soak in the vibe and hear the classics, it sounds like it probably was a celebration. Everything you loved about the band, right there. But if you were maybe looking for fresh cuts or a longer set, or maybe you just felt those logistical hurdles kind of dampened your spirits, you might left wanting more. It just perfectly speaks to the diverse expectations within any audience, doesn't it? Especially when seeing a band with such a long and storied career. It's a massive challenge for any promoter or band to satisfy everyone in a crowd that's likely spanning generations of musical tastes.
It's such a complex tapestry of desires, isn't it? It really is. For some, the experience is the ultimate nostalgia trip, a chance to reconnect with those youthful memories. For others, it's more about current artistic relevance, maybe pushing boundaries a bit, and the reviewer's final rating, that 8 out of 10, acknowledging solid vibes but room to grow. That really seems to capture this blend. A blend of triumph, but also those minor missteps we discussed. And the Relentless Tour, it carries on. It's continuing its journey across the U.S., Canada, and beyond. St. Augustine was mentioned as the very next stop, August 23rd. So this means the band is still very much a working touring unit, actively out there, engaging with their audience.
And as the cherry on top of the evening, as one reviewer put it, was that encore. They came back out to play Food for Thought, which apparently brought a really reflective close to the night. The audience, almost as one, lit up the whole room with their phone flashlights, creating this truly memorable visual moment that captured that feel-good fiesta essence the concert was aiming for. It's quite a powerful image, isn't it? That sea of lights, symbolizing connection, shared experience, maybe even overshadowing some of the earlier frustrations for people.
Yeah, that moment really seemed to crystallize the whole experience, didn't it? And if we connect this back to the bigger picture, it's pretty clear that UB40's legacy is still very much alive. Even as they navigate that really delicate balance between their past achievements and their present artistic direction, they're still on the road, still performing, still very much part of the global music scene. And constantly redefining what it means to be a legacy act here in the 21st century. This whole deep dive into UB40's Relentless Tour concert, it really highlights the multifaceted nature of the live music experience itself.
It really does.
And it kind of begs an important question for you, the listener, to consider. When you go to a concert, especially for a legendary band, how much do you weigh the nostalgia of their huge hits against wanting maybe new material or some innovation? And how much do those surrounding factors like, venue logistics or ticket prices, how much do they ultimately influence your overall satisfaction with the night?
That's a great takeaway thought. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. It's always fascinating, isn't it, to pull apart the different layers of an event like this and see what truly makes an experience memorable, or perhaps, leaves you wanting just a little bit more. We hope you'll keep that thought in mind the next time you step into a concert hall, weighing not just the performance on stage, but that whole symphony of elements that make up a live show.